They told me my hotel was too small, too cheap, and too ugly for the family legacy, so they handed everything to my brother. But they didn't know the Queen of Bahrain had already booked my place. They laughed when I opened a 10-room in by the highway. But I smiled, because I knew what they didn't. If this hooked you already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The revenge you're about to see is unforgettable. When my parents split the inheritance, I got leftovers, the dusty land behind the gas station. Leah, just turn it into a storage unit, Dad had said, sipping his overpriced whiskey. My younger brother, Brandon? He got the family's mountain resort, fully built, fully operational, and already booked for ski season. They didn't even try to hide their favoritism. Mom told me straight to my face, Brandon has business sense. You just have dreams. I didn't cry. I just stopped talking. While they popped champagne at Brandon's grand opening, I quietly used my savings to build something on my land. 10 rooms. No pool. No fancy spa. Just a place for people who needed warmth, privacy, and a quiet place to think. I called it Willow Stay, and while Brandon's Instagram was filled with influencers and sponsored chefs, I served coffee in mismatched mugs and listened to old travelers tell their stories. Then came the family dinner. Let's make it official, Dad said, tapping his glass. Brandon's hotel will carry the family name. Leah, you're welcome to assist with bookings. The entire table laughed. I looked at my brother. He didn't even blink. Just said, Leah's place is more like a roadside stop, not a real hotel. I smiled, but inside, I was already gone, because I knew something none of them knew. One of my guests, a quiet woman with a headscarf and no entourage, had been staying for 2 weeks. She asked for no special treatment, just peace. We talked late at night over tea. She said, your place feels like home. 2 days later, she left. 1 week later, chaos hit Brandon's hotel. An ultra VIP international guest had arrived unexpectedly. The local press gathered. Brandon was sweating, trying to figure out why no one had informed him. That's when the limo driver walked up to their front desk and said the words that would flip everything upside down. She says this place isn't what she expected. She wants to go back to Willow Stay. Said she felt more human there. Everyone froze. The guest, the same woman who had sipped tea in my tiny backyard, but they were about to find out who she really was? And why her choice would destroy everything they built. Brandon's face turned pale. What do you mean she wants to go back? Back where? He snapped at the driver like it was his fault. But the man calmly replied, Ma'am says she won't stay anywhere but Leah's Inn. She's already on her way. Mom stood up in disbelief. Wait, Leah's Inn? The one behind the gas station? She looked at Dad, who scoffed. She must be confused. But she wasn't, because 30 minutes later, every major media outlet had parked outside Willow Stay. I was on my porch when the black limo pulled in. The door opened, and the woman who had once sipped tea in her hoodie stepped out, this time wearing a sleek designer gown and a diamond necklace worth more than Brandon's lobby chandelier. She walked toward me and gave me a soft smile. Thank you for the peace, Leah. I needed it. And now, I need the world to know what peace really feels like. That's when my phone rang. It was the city's tourism board director. Leah, we'd like to partner with Willow Stay for our upcoming Authentic Hospitality campaign. The royal guest has made a formal recommendation. Royal guest, my jaw tightened. I typed her name into Google. And there it was, Princess Salima Al Nazari, niece of the Queen of Bahrain, international advocate, philanthropist, and, apparently, a secret hotel reviewer who chooses hidden gems over 5-star chains. Brandon's place wasn't a gem. It was marble over ego mine? Built with care. The next day, every headline told the same story. Royal family endorses small American and over. Luxury resort, family overlooks daughter's hotel. She quietly wins global attention. My parents called. First Mom, then Dad. Leah, we were wrong. We didn't know. Can we meet? They said, voices cracked. Even Brandon showed up at my door. No camera crew this time, just a stiff smile and a half-hearted, you did good. But I wasn't done because they hadn't seen what was coming next. Behind the scenes, I had signed a 5-year exclusivity deal with an elite global travel agency. Willow Stay was about to become a global retreat chain, with my name at the center, and guess what? The family name they wanted to attach to Brandon's hotel, Princess Salima, made sure it got erased from the tourism board registry. Instead, a new Name would go up on the official tourism list, Leah's Willow, the heart behind hospitality, but before I could tell my family that, I found out Brandon had just made one final move to sabotage me. He tried to buy out my property using a fake developer, offering double market rate to force me to sell that he didn't know I had already seen the paperwork, and I wasn't going to. Stay quiet. I invited Brandon to meet me for coffee, not at my inn, but at the exact diner where Mom once told me I'd never be more than a motel manager. I booked the booth. Sat there early. Waited. He walked in, confident, fake smile plastered across his face like always. "You got my offer?" he said casually, sliding into the seat across from me. I nodded, calm. "Yeah. Pretty bold of you to send a fake developer with a fake name." He blinked. "What do you mean?" I slid a manila folder across the table. Inside were copies of emails, fake LLC registrations, and one slip-up, his assistant's actual phone number used in the fake company documents. He didn't even bother denying it. "So what?" "It's business," Brandon muttered. "You're in over your head, Leah. You got lucky. This royal attention, it won't last. Let someone experienced handle it before you ruin it." My hands were steady, but inside, my heart was pounding. I pulled out the final page. "You mean this contract?" I asked, tapping the paper with Princess Salima's signature and her handwritten note. "Only Leah. No substitutes. No partnerships. No sellouts." His face dropped. I leaned in. "You tried to buy me out, from land you laughed at. From dreams you spit on. You didn't just want to take the property, you wanted to erase me from the story. But I am the story." Then came the real kicker. "I bought your hotel," I said, tossing the final document in front of him. He stared, silent, because while he was too busy chasing PR deals and faking offers, his resort investors panicked when they saw the headlines. They backed out. Left him with debt. And I bought the mortgage, cheap. "You'll still run it," I smiled. "Under my brand. Under my rules. Under me." He looked sick. Just then, my phone buzzed. A message from the royal assistant. "The Queen herself wants to visit next month. Please prepare Willow stay for her arrival." Brandon glanced at my screen and swallowed hard, and in that moment, the boy who once inherited everything, finally realized he had nothing without it. But I wasn't done yet, because while Brandon was crumbling, Mom and Dad were planning something behind my back. I should have known they wouldn't sit quietly. 2 nights later, I got a call from a reporter. "Leah, is it true your parents built Willow Stay and just let you run it as a manager?" I nearly dropped my phone. "What?" she continued. "Your parents claim they funded everything and gave you the land as a test. They say your brother helped design the interior too. We were going to run a family triumph angle." My hands shook. I hung up without answering. They were rewriting my story, trying to steal the only thing I had truly built on my own. I called Dad. He didn't even flinch. "It's business, Leah. You got press, we just leveraged it. No harm done." "No harm?" I snapped. "You ignored me my entire life. Mocked my choices. Now that I'm finally winning, you're claiming it as your own." Mom chimed in from the background. "We're just trying to keep the family united, sweetheart. It's our last name on the property, isn't it?" "No," I said coldly. "It's mine. And I legally changed the brand last week. It's now under a new corporation. I own 100%. You two don't exist on any of the papers." Silence. Then Dad said something I'll never forget. "Then you're not our daughter anymore." They hung up. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at my phone. My hands were cold, but my mind was clear. That night, I did something I never thought I would. I posted the full truth online. I uploaded a video showing the land when it was just gravel. Time-lapse of me painting the walls, building the wooden signs, serving the first guests. Screenshots of the royalty contract. Photos of Brandon's fake developer paperwork. Even the message from the Queen's office. Then I ended the video with just one line. "They didn't believe in me when I had nothing. But now that I have everything, they say it was theirs all along." It went viral. 23 million views in 4 days, every major outlet ran with it. Headlines exploded. Disowned daughter builds global hotel brand alone. Family tries to steal credit, from rejected to royalty. Leah's viral truth shakes industry. And just when the dust started to settle, I got a letter. A formal invitation, not just from the Queen of Bahrain, but from the United Nations. They wanted me to speak on global entrepreneurship, resilience, and how to build something from nothing. But while I was preparing my speech, I got another message, this one handwritten, from Brandon. He wanted to meet me one last time, and this time, he had a secret to reveal. Brandon was already waiting when I arrived. This time, no suits, no swagger. Just him, sitting at the same booth where he once mocked me. His hands were shaking. A man who once thought he ruled the world now looked like he didn't belong in it. I sat down. No words. Just silence for a moment, then he slid a small flash drive across the table. You need to see this, he whispered. I narrowed my eyes. What is it? He looked up, eyes red. Proof of what Mom and Dad did to you and to me. My fingers curled around the drive of Brandon's side. They planned this years ago. The inheritance? The land split? It was a setup. They thought you'd fail so they could flip the property cheap and resell it to a hotel chain. They put me front and center because they knew I'd follow orders. They never intended for you to succeed. My breath caught. He wasn't done. The whole time I thought I was winning, I was just their puppet. I didn't even realize it until they tried to make me sign over my hotel rights to them. I refused, and they cut me off too. Cold. Just like you. I didn't know what to say. For once, it wasn't about revenge. It was grief. Decades of manipulation. Realizing we were pawns in their game. I'm sorry, Leah, he said. You were always better than me. I see it now. I stared at him for a long moment. And then? I forgave him, because some victories are louder than revenge. Weeks later, I stood on stage at the United Nations, hundreds of people, dozens of nations. Cameras flashing. I told my story, about building something from rejection. About losing your family and finding yourself. About turning pain into power. When I finished, they gave me a standing ovation. Afterwards, Princess Salima hugged me. Your story changed me, she said. And now, I want you to help us change others. She handed me a letter. It was a grant, enough to open 50 willow stays across the world. I cried, not for the money. Not even for the success, but because the girl who once served coffee in silence had finally found her voice. Back home, Brandon reopened his hotel under my brand, humbler, more human. We weren't best friends. But we were free from the lies that held us back. As for my parents, they tried to sue me, the judge laughed them out of court, and just like that, the people who once controlled everything became irrelevant to the empire. I built with nothing but grit, grace, and a broken heart that refused to stay broken, and me, I didn't just win. I became unstoppable.